Hello and welcome to my channel where we talk about tips and tricks for teaching elementary music. Okay, let's get started. So for today's video, I want to talk about how to teach elementary music using Google Slides. During the time when we were in lockdown and I was teaching completely on Zoom, I had to come up with a way to present my information to my students. And I did a lot of YouTube surfing, just like a lot of other people did. And I came across so many good ideas for using Google Slides. So I used that the whole time I was in virtual. We were in virtual from September of 20 to March of 21. And when we came back, we were in hybrid. So when we were in hybrid and I was teaching Zoomies and Roomies at the same time, I just continued on with that same procedure with using Google Slide presentations every week for my class. It just made it easier from a planning perspective for me, and it was something the students were already familiar with, so I just kept using that. So over the summer of 21, I knew that we were going to be returning to full-time in-person instruction in the fall, and I thought about how I wanted to approach that. Did I want to go back to how I taught back in pre-lockdown in February of 2020, where I did use some smartboard files? I also had the children opening books and following along with that. I also would have some notated things that would be on paper in front of the students, say on construction paper or like a big post-it note. I used a variety of different ways. I certainly did not have 100% digital instruction. So I could have gone back to that, but I decided that the Google Slide presentations were so easy for me to put together. Once I got the hang of it and found out the little tips and tricks along the way to make it really work for a music setting, I really fell in love with the process of putting them together. Unlike a piece of paper that could get ripped or smudged or stepped on or wrinkled, and the students might not be able to tell what note it is anymore if there's a mark on it, the digital file stays the way it is from the beginning until such time as I change it or get rid of it. The other advantage of the digital file is you can do so much just copy and write over what you did before. And it just makes it so much easier rather than starting from scratch, getting another sheet of paper out, another construction sheet of paper or a post-it note or some other way that you wanted to do it. So today I'm going to walk you through the process of how to create these Google Slides and how you can use it as an elementary music teacher for all of your instruction. All right, so let me show you what I'm talking about. All right, if you look at the screen here, this is my full presentation of what I actually taught this past week to my afternoon classes. So you see I have a virtual classroom. I'm actually not going to walk you through the process of creating a virtual classroom because I feel like there are so many videos out there on YouTube alone that you could find that people have really gone into great detail about how to create a virtual classroom. But once you create it and you've got it the way you want it, you can use it over and over again in multiple ways. So you'll see I use it this way where there's like a cover sheet. This is what's open up on my smartboard when my students walk into second grade. Of course, it has my name here, which I didn't want to have on this video. And then we have the next page, which is my I can statements. So my district is very big into I can statements, so I make sure that I have those up there and we talk through what we're going to be doing as far as activities in the class. And this, you could like move things around. There are some parts that are stationary and some parts that are movable. It's just the way I set up my virtual classroom. So I'm just going to kind of go through this really quickly just so you can see. So I have a linked slide and I'm going to explain how you can make that. I have an embedded video. I'll show you how to do that process. I have another link slide, and I think 2 more link slides. And then I go on to kindergarten. So kindergarten has the same cover sheet. It just says kindergarten. And then they also have I can statements. I didn't link to this particular song because it fits on one slide. So I just put the slide over in here rather than linking like I did back here. This song is a considerably longer song that has multiple slides in it. Okay. Another song that only needed one slide and another link. And continuing on, there's 3rd grade. I can statements again, and so on and so forth. So I am not going to show you how to create this page. I'm not going to show you how to create this page just because it's the same idea. It's the only thing I did here was I put a text box in so that I could put all my information in. But everything else you could figure out when you're making your virtual classroom. What I want to show you how to make are things like this, where you put the song lyrics in, where you embed the song, where you embed videos, and other things. So we're going to start from scratch. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these boxes because I don't need them. The reason I don't need them is, yes, am I going to put text in here? Sure. But they are already set up as a certain size and a certain font and a certain text size as well. So I want to have a little bit more freedom to choose things. So the first thing that I did was I create a shape, and I'm going to do a rectangle, and I just go from corner to corner so that it covers the full slide. And then I chose a color. It doesn't matter what the color is. These colors get changed all the time. I don't know, let's make this one a purple. And I'm gonna make sure that it covers everything. Okay, so this now becomes a nice background for anything that you want to put on there. Whether you want to put an embedded video, whether you want to put a text box, whether you want to put notation for rhythm patterns. You've got this nice background that makes it look more finished. So then the next thing I did was I'll pull a text box and I will fill it with white. Okay. And then I will center it. It doesn't really matter, whatever works for you. Let's put it at a 30. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and type in some song lyrics. Okay, so let's say that you've got this all filled up with whatever you want it to say, and you have to do some more song lyrics because most songs are going to take more than one slide for you to put the song lyrics on. You're not going to want to make it so small that everything fits on one slide and the students get confused. So you're going to have to duplicate this slide. So now you've still got your same color, and you can just write over it again. So maybe you take out the title this time. So let's say that this is the A section, this is the B section, and the song is A, B, A, A, B, A. So you just go and copy that or duplicate, whichever you want to do. So we'll do a copy the first way. Now I'm going to duplicate this one, because we're going to call that the B section, and I'm going to move it on down. And before I continue on, let's say that you want the A section to be a different color than the B section. So we keep this one purple, the A section. We're going to turn the B section. You just make sure you highlight that rectangle, and we're going to turn the B section into, I don't know, let's do yellow. I don't really like that yellow. Yeah, that's a nice kind of pale yellow. So it's an ABA song. So let me duplicate this slide. Is it's going to go A, B, A, interlude, A, B, duplicate the slide again, or copy, whichever you prefer, and slide the slide down. So you've got A, B, A, and then there's an interlude, and then A, B, A. Okay, so it's just as simple as that, as far as like typing in your lyrics. Now, what if instead of lyrics, you wanted to have the actual notated song up there? There are, of course, interactive music websites that will give you like PowerPoints that are already done that have the song notation on them, or in some cases videos with the song notation in it, and you just have to embed the video, all of those sorts of things. I'm not going to show you anything like that because I'm trying not to show you any copyrighted material. So you got to use your imagination a little bit here. Let's say that I want to insert an actual song notated in this instead of the text box. So I'm just going to copy this or duplicate this slide. So I'm just going to start here with this one, and I'm going to get rid of it, the text box. And I'm going to insert image from my computer. This is an actual Google slide, it's a full slide. I shrunk it down for the purposes of just giving you an idea that you could take notated music and put it in here as a JPEG. I will also show you how to make this Google slide later on. But so you have those options. So you can go and put your song lyrics in, or you could put notated JPEGs in and make them however big you want to make them. I will warn you, if you're taking your picture that you're getting your notation from, if it came from a very small picture, there can be problems with the pixelation as you make it bigger, but you can still get it to be seen for your students. So here's a little tool. If you don't know about this tool, it's called the snipping tool. Now, this is something you can use anywhere on a Windows PC. It doesn't need to be in Google Slides. It could be on your desktop. It could be something you saw on a web page, anything that you wanted to snip. So if you're not aware of the snipping tool, it is the Windows button, the Shift key, and S. And your screen will go dark. A little plus sign will show up, and that's so that you can pull what you want to snip. So let's say I just want to snip this little part of what I'm showing you. So once you snip it, it will pop up like this, and you can highlight it, you can draw on it, or you can crop it if you needed to do that. You can erase it. You can save it. So I'm just going to save it as example. You open up your file and you insert it. So this is what I'm going to talk to you about with the pixelation. Well, this one didn't do so bad. Then you can make it however big you want to make it and adjust it wherever you want to make it. So that's how you can insert an image that you wanted to use. So let's say that was notation that you did and you wanted to throw it up there, or a picture of something else. Maybe you wanted to show pictures of string instruments or something that you found, and that's how you would insert that image. Okay, so you have a few options there. You can insert a picture and resize it however you want to. And this, of course, we made with the snipping tool, which is just that Windows key, Shift, and S at the same time. And that will open that up, and you can draw on it if you want, or just resize it or crop it, or however you want to do. Rename it, and you can insert it there. You also can insert notation that you found somewhere, or notation that you made, and you can resize that however you want as well. You can put text box in there where you're going to insert lyrics, etc. And you can change the colors of the text boxes to differentiate between like an A section and a B section if that's what you want to do. And then of course you can title it whatever you want to title it, and you can save it to and it will automatically save to your drive. But you can also choose where you want to save it. But let's talk about how to embed sound. let's say this is the beginning of our song and I want to insert audio. So you are only going to be able to insert audio that you have loaded to your drive, or that maybe somebody else loaded to their drive and they gave you access to it through a shared drive link. I'm just grabbing this one right here that's popped up called Blitzen's Boogie. So I clicked on it and I'm going to select it. I could also go in here in the search engine and type the specific song that I was looking for. But since I'm not looking for a specific song today, I'm just grabbing that and I'm going to hit select. And that's going to go in here. Okay. So wherever you want to put it, in the text box, out here, wherever you want to put it. So I want to tell you a couple things about this. If your song only lasts for one slide, like this song does, then you don't need to do anything else but just put the music in. If your song lasts for multiple slides, like this pretend song does, you know, you're singing A section, B section, A section, B, A section again, B section, A section, and you want to show this in presentation mode, and you want the song to continue playing beyond the first slide, then you need to make sure that this is highlighted and you need to unclick Stop on Slide Change. So once you do that, you can put it into presentation mode, and I'm actually not going to play this music because it's copyrighted music, but you could put it into presentation mode. You could click on that song, so no matter how many times you advance, it will not stop the music until the music is done with that track. So it's just a really cool thing to be able to do as a music teacher. Just makes it more convenient. So if you want to get really fancy, you can click on that again. You can do a right click. You can go down to replace image. If you happen to have an image that you like, you can click on that. And now the image, and you can make the image as big as you want. And so since this doesn't have a background, I might put it so that you have the white behind it to make it stick out more. It does not have to be a picture of a Bitmoji. I just happen to grab that to give you an idea. If this, let's say I was doing a song about rainbows, I might find a picture about rainbows. A song about Thanksgiving, I might find a picture of a turkey. Or you could just leave it alone and just have it look like that original speaker image. It's just something extra. Another thing that you can insert into your slides, images that help you teach other concepts to your students that maybe you've been talking about for a while. For example, I want the A there so that they know that's A section. Okay. All right. So once you've got your song all done with all your lyrics in it, any extra pictures that you want to add in, you've embedded your sound, you've duplicated any of your slides, you've got all your colors that you want as far as your background colors, and you've named it. I'm just going to name it random. Now you have a couple of options. So you could come back over to your presentation that you've been working on, and you can take all of these slides and you can do a click, shift, shift. This is a left click, by the way, that I'm doing, but I'm holding the shift key down and I'm going up to edit and I say copy. So let me say again. So I did a left click and then I held the shift key down and kept going left click all the way down the presentation. Now, I could have done entire presentation, but I just wanted to show you this because maybe you only want to copy 3 slides. But let's say you could take this whole presentation and come on over here, and I'm going to put it at the bottom, and right click and paste. Match styles. So now that entire song that we were creating is now underneath of the rest of the presentation that I've been working on, or in the middle of the presentation, wherever you wanted it to go. So that's one way to do it, but you can imagine we're at 27 slides. And if I was going to do that with every single song, that averages about, if it's an ABA song, let's say, maybe 6 slides. So if I have a song for 3 grade levels, that's 6 slides a piece, right? That's 18 slides. Well, that's not the only thing in my presentation. I have other things in my presentation as well. So it could make it a very long presentation. You could sit there and look and see that you have a 50 slide presentation. There is nothing wrong with that. I just like to streamline mine better. Oh, and another thing. So I split my slides into 2 groups. When I'm showing them to my students, I have an AM set and a PM set. So I've got my 3 classes in the morning, my 3 classes after lunch, because that also helps to manage it to not being such a long presentation. The problem with it being a long presentation is if you're looking for something specific, I don't know, you want to copy the slide that you did with kindergarten, and kindergarten is your 5th class of the day, it takes you a while to go down there to find the slide that you want if you've got so many slides, 50 plus. So for me, it just makes it easier to just streamline it down. So before we added this in here, and this is actually the presentation that I taught to my 2nd, kindergarten, and 3rd grade this past week. Before we added that extra stuff, we had 19 slides. So pretty manageable. So like I said, you could sit there and you could do that, where you just copy it and put it all in there. Or you could turn it into something like this, where it has a link. So once you click on that link, that opens up and you can make it full. And now you're in a brand new presentation. And this particular presentation ended up being super long because it was 1 slide per measure, and I had them playing bells and boom whackers, so it ended up being, what is it, 47 slides. So you can understand why I wouldn't want to take all of this and just copy it and put it over into my Google slide presentation that I'm going to show to 3 different grade levels. If it's in its own Google slide presentation, then anytime I want to link it, it's easy to find, and I can do it again and again, and I don't have to go hunt for what week did I teach that. Oh, I taught that on January 18th. Let me go to January 18th's presentation to find it. That makes it harder to do. So it just makes it more organized. So let me show you how to actually make a link slide. So let's go back to that presentation. Whoops. And let me just go ahead and duplicate this slide. So let's look at this January jump-in. I want to unlink it. So you see this little remove link. I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to change the name. And what did we call that other presentation? Random. So now I'm going to go to random, which I kept open on purpose. I'm going to go up here to share. I'm going to click on copy link. You can absolutely leave it as restricted. You do not have to change it to anything else. All you have to do is click copy link, because this is just for you. I'm going to click on done. I'm going to go back into that presentation. I'm going to find that word that I wrote that I want to link, random. I'm going to right click. I'm going to go down to link, right click again, paste, apply, and then I'm going to check it. Yep, and there's our presentation. And let's say that I want to use this with multiple classes. So I could duplicate this slide or copy it, whichever works better. For me, sometimes it's copy works better because I don't have to drag the slide where I'm going. So plus, if I want it to make the same slide also be in another presentation, that's the process you have to use, is copy. So I tend to just do copy unless I'm duplicating a slide that's just going to be used again, like just right below, or maybe one away. But if it's going to be like 5 slides away, I tend to just hit copy. So I'm going to hit copy, and I'm going to use it right, I'm just making this up, I'm going to use it right here. So now I clicked left click, and now I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click paste, and there the slide showed up again. So that's how you do a linked slide. Okay, so here you can see an embedded video. So we're going to go back to random. I'm going to get out of this presentation, and I'm going to show you how to embed a video. So I'm just going to go to the bottom of this presentation, and I'm going to duplicate slide, because I'm just going to use one right next door, and I'm going to get rid of the text box. Okay, so I am pretending I have not looked at this song at all. I have no idea if it's any good. I'm just picking a random song here. I'm going to go to it, and I'm going to get the link. And I'm going back to random, and I'm clicking on that blank slide. It's still got our rectangle back there, and this rectangle is movable. You can get rid of it. You can change the color. So since I'm switching to something different, it's no longer the song. I don't know, let's make it orange. And I want to insert video. So I've already copied that YouTube link. So there you go, you got YouTube up here. So then you right click and you paste, and you search for that link. Okay, that's the song I want to use. I click on it, I hit select. Now, you do not have to make this any bigger, because when you go into presentation mode, slideshow, you can hit play, and you can hit full screen. So you don't even have to make it any bigger. I'm not really going to play this song because I don't really know anything about it. So and let me hit escape. So another feature that you can do, let's say that you found this great video, and I don't know, it's maybe 45 minutes long, and you only want your students to see 5 minutes of it. So if you have it highlighted, you've got the video playback formatting over here. You can actually choose when you want it to start. You might want to play the entire video. You might want to start at 20 seconds in. You might want it to end at 2 minutes. So if you notice, it started on 20 seconds. Because that's when I told it to start, instead of starting at 0. So you have some options there where you can take, I was just, with one of my classes, I was showing them an orchestra video that was an actual full concert. It was like an hour-and-a-half long concert. And I went and found like about 2.5 minutes of a piece of music, and I started it at a certain time and I ended it at a certain time, so that I could just click on it and I didn't have to like watch the time to see when I needed to stop and start. So now we're gonna look at how to create things that aren't a text, things that aren't just pictures that you pulled up there, and whatnot. So let's look at creating a rhythm first. So this particular song only had an A section, but it had 2 verses. So that's why you see a 1 and a 2. And I created these patterns in Word, and then I used the snipping tool that I showed you earlier, which is the Windows key Shift S to create this picture and put it in here. So I had access to a bunch of rhythm patterns that somebody made for rhythm cards, and they made it in a Word doc, and I had access to that, and that's how I was able to manipulate rhythms. I also went and found pictures of 2/4 time, 4/4 time, 3/4 time, and went and added those in. And I believe I made that picture of the rhythm pattern with just two lines and a dot, and then just kind of copied and pasted. And of course the measure line is just a line. So I did have to do a lot of kind of research over how to create these rhythm patterns digitally. But once I created them and I did them in Word form or in Google Doc form, I was able to manipulate them and create any number of rhythm patterns that I wanted to use. So let me show you another thing that I've created before, and that is percussion. Now it says percussion, but by percussion, I'm not talking about playing drums or percussion instruments. This is actually body percussion. So when my students came back into the building last spring and we were in hybrid setting, we had Zoomies and Roomies having music at the same time. And I didn't think it was fair to put a real instrument like a maraca in my Roomies' hands and my Zoomies see that they got to play a real instrument, but meanwhile they were going and playing a found sound. I didn't think that that was fair, and I switched over to body percussion. So it looked a little something like this. So you can see I've got a rhythm pattern again, just like you saw before in that New Year's song. This song does have an A section and a B section. So these pictures, the shoes and the hands, I just found by typing in shoes or feet. And the way you do that is you insert and you go to image. So it was left click to insert. I drag down to go to image, go over to upload from computer if you have it. If not, you click on search the web. And I always search free. Oops. Free, transparent, and then whatever you're looking for, shoes. So you find something that you like, whatever it is, you left click and you click insert. And then you can size it down to whatever you want it to be, however small it needs to be. And then this was just Bitmoji that I did for the rest. And this is the embedded song and the embedded sound file, and I just did replace image and I put world because I believe the name of the song is Hello to All the Children of the World. So it's just another idea of something that you could create as an activity for your students that doesn't require instruments, but isn't just straight rhythm reading either. And the last thing I want to show you how to create is melody. So in order to create this, I had done a project last year with composition with my students. Somewhere I found a staff and a treble clef. I have tried to find it again. Let me insert a blank slide. So my process went something like this. Search the web, free, transparent, treble staff. I either typed in treble staff or music staff or something like that. So this is not the same one that I have. I don't know if you can tell the difference. Like this has a heavier thing and the lines aren't as long. But somewhere along the way, I was able to find, and I don't know if that particular image just isn't available anymore or what, but this is why it's really beneficial to, definitely keep your Google Slides, because you can reuse things, and sometimes you can't replace that thing anyway if you got rid of it. But this just still gives you an idea. So you could create your own lines. I could do something like this. I could just get rid of this again, and let's type in free, transparent music staff. Well, let's see if that's any better. I think that's the same one. It is. Let's pull that over. I don't personally like how thick this one is, but we're just gonna go with it for the sake of showing you what to do. So then I could type in free transparent treble clef, pull it over, size it down to what it needs to be, right? And, you know, make this bigger. Actually, what you probably should do is group them together first. So in order to group them together, you click on one of them, then you hit Shift and click on the other one. So you can see that they're both highlighted. So now you do a right click and you hit group. So they should be grouped. So they should all move, they should move together now. So I should be able to size it together. Yeah, so they're both moving up together. So I know that treble clef isn't perfect, but you get the idea with this. So now what you would do with this, because you're like, I have to create a lot of melody files, and Google Slides, you know, I can make it really big, and yeah, it'll be one measure per, is I should have done this before, you know, create a line. We'll just go with that. So you've got it however you want it to be. So you take this, everything, you can still move this around on the page, and you don't really want to have to mess with that too much, right? If you're having to make multiple melody files, you don't want to be messing with moving, with the staff getting moved around on the page. So what you do is you click on the slide. That was a left click. You go up to File and you hit Download, and you can do JPEG or PNG, whichever one you want to do. I'm going to do JPEG. And now I'm going to make a blank slide. Get rid of those. And I'm going to click on background. I'm going to click on choose image. And I'm going to browse. Done. I can't move this at all. It is stuck in place. So I can duplicate this slide however many times I want. Right? And now I have these treble staff slides that I can create my melodies on. So you search for a quarter note or a quarter rest in the same way, free transparent quarter note, free transparent quarter rest, whatever it is you're using. And this is just a text box that I turned the same color as the boom whackers, and I put the letter F in. All right, let me get rid of these so they don't hang out in my actual presentation for when I show it to my students. So that would be how you would create a melody in a Google Slide. And then you would take that same thing that we talked about earlier, we're doing the share, right? And linking it, which I did in this presentation. That's called Snowflake's Melody. And if I go down here, and there it is for that particular grade level, which I think is second grade. It's linked already for them. So once you create your lesson plans in that Google Slide format, go ahead and star it or put it in a folder that you won't forget where it is, so it's easy to find again. I hope you learned some things from this video that are helpful about how to use Google Slides to teach elementary music. And don't forget to subscribe. Have a fantastic day.